Hey guys, what is up? Today we are setting up the June plan with me, my first one for the month. Second one coming soon. Sorry it's so late. This theme was such a hassle to actually figure out how to set up and everything. So right now you are just seeing me dabble some wet gouache onto this watercolor paper. Yes, it is black. There is such thing as black watercolor paper. I was shocked as well. So I'm just doing this in all of the places that I'm actually going to have this galaxy watercolor look throughout my entire spread, so they can all dry and I can go ahead and write on them with a white gel pen, which you will see later on. You'll also see me use an acrylograph, but we'll talk about that in a minute. For this theme, I decided to do a galaxy cuttlefish idea, and I didn't know if I wanted to just have galaxies next to it or if I wanted to just do a cuttlefish inside of a galaxy. Eventually, after playing with it quite a bit, I finally settled on just putting a galaxy down with watercolor and gouache and adding the cuttlefish in later with white gel pen and acrylographs. Again, I'll explain why I switched to a white gel pen later on. But right now, I'm just using this sponge and just doing this dabbing technique to make sure that everything blends nicely, and I'll eventually go back in and add stars. So the next month will actually be in a completely new journal. I have finished up my Clever Fox and there's just not enough pages left within it to actually make one more setup. So for July will be moved over to another journal. At the moment I don't know what that one is because I have so many to choose from, so I have to decide that later on. But finishing out June with this theme, I'm really happy with it. Actually, I'm surprised I kept going because usually at this point I would have been like, okay, let's just do another theme, but I persevered, I got through it, and I really do like the results. June is kind of a special month for me and Tristan, and it's just like, it's our anniversary month, so it's been quite a while of us actually being together, and I just decided to do a cuddle theme, pun intended there. And I just decided to also add space to that just because I thought it would be kind of a fun way to end out this journal with a blackout theme. As previously mentioned about the acrylograph. Okay, so I do not hate these pens whatsoever, and I feel like I got the wrong size, so that was my bad. I should have got the thicker size to be doing projects like this, but I kept trying and trying so hard to draw this dang cuttlefish on this cover with these things, and I mean, you'll see me struggle the entire way through and get a good outline and get a good actual product out of it, but I feel like drawing on straight gouache was not the play. And eventually I do switch over to using a white gel pen because my idea was, oh, it's gouache, so white gel pen isn't going to show up on it. And it actually showed up way better than the acrylograph that took me forever. So here you'll just see me using this actual blending palette right beside me, trying to get that white out and get this actual image to show up. I got a product I was semi-happy with. I kind of wish that I had made it a bit thicker to show that it was a cuttlefish, but you know, you can't win them all. I like it. I think that it still portrays a cuttlefish versus a squid, which is the hard actual distinction there, to make sure that I'm not drawing what looks like a squid and confusing people with that. Otherwise though, I'm really happy with it. Again, if you're gonna do this, gel pen over the white acrylographs, 100%. And if you do this with watercolor and it actually works on black paper, let me know, because I used the Sakura Koi travel kit and I didn't know if it was gonna actually work on this, so I just switched over to gouache. And then I'm just doing the flicker technique that everybody knows, where you just take a paintbrush and just flicker it onto the actual image. And other than that, that's about it for the cover page. I just add the word June at the bottom using, I think this was a white gel pen. So for the quote page, I kept it pretty simple. I went back to one quote since May had 3, and the quote I chose was, "You will never forget a person who came to you with a torch in the dark." image on this page, you'll see me working with the acrylograph once again, and this is kind of the point to where I'm like, okay, I'm kind of tired of using this, and I really just want to get a clean image, so I decided, let's go ahead and try the gel pen. I mean, there's no harm in it at this point, and maybe it'll work better. And to my surprise, it did. A lot better. And that's, once again, not a stab at the acrylographs. I absolutely love the paint pens, well, the paint markers, whatever they're actually classified as. It's just, in this case, the white gel pen was better creatively as a choice. So at the bottom here, I am just drawing 2 cuttlefish, and they are forming a heart with their tentacles. So I learned this after drawing every single one of these. Cuttlefish have 8 normal tentacles and then 2 long ones, so 100% my tentacles are not accurate in count, so please don't come for me for that. Right along into the calendar spread, I just decided to go ahead and use this galaxy kind of washi tape that I had just gotten because I thought it was so pretty and it just fit with the theme. And I never use washi tape. It is a very rare thing for me, while other people constantly use it on their spreads, and I'm like, I want to get better at this. So there you go. Here's me using washi tape for once in my life, even though I have tons of washi tape just sitting at my desk. Coming up for the channel, actually, obviously we have the plan with me still going, we have weeklies and stuff. Jen's bullet journal, I've decided to just turn into one solid video where I'm just gonna do a flip through, because having to video all of that process is taking way too long, and I do start back up for school next week by having to sit in lectures for organic chemistry just to refresh myself before I have to take OChem 2. So other than that, real school for me actually starts not next week but the week after, where I have to take field methods and lab. So this setup is definitely going to help me a lot with that. But you'll notice later on in the grade tracker, I do mention the 2 classes, even though technically I'm taking 3. One of them is just a sit-in. Habit tracker, I had mentioned previously I have colored stamps and I just never use them, and I knew for a fact black stamp ink was not going to work for this specific setup, so I had this silver metallic looking stamp ink and I was like, hey, let's try that. And while it didn't show up 100% perfectly, it shows up enough to where I can actually use it for the habit trackers instead of having to go in and put each tiny number, which is really annoying and the point of stamps in general when it comes to these types of setups. the mood tracker, I'm just going back to the circle tracker, which is so much harder to do on black paper, you have no idea. Because if you forget where that actual loop was that started you out, you have to redo the entire circle, and most likely you're just going to get a thicker circle, which is really annoying. And of course you have to let white gel pens dry. That was my bad. I do that a ton in this setup, and I apologize ahead of time. So as for the dabbing technique, still just doing that to form a galaxy inside the middle of this, and yes, I am aware it is not the cleanest. I am sorry. I did not feel like taping off all of that just to do this one circular part, so it is what it is. And other than that, I've just been dabbing the top parts where there are headers and everything with those same paints to give that galaxy type effect, because I just felt like it was necessary and there was just nothing going on at the top, so I wanted to add a splash of color to that. As per the image that is going in the middle of the mood tracker, once again, I am just doing a cuttlefish that I quickly freehanded. All of the cuttlefish that are found in this video are freehanded. I do use reference material, obviously, and you will see my phone in one of these shots of me drawing a cuttlefish, so just ignore that and understand that most of these are freehand. No, all of these are freehand, my bad. Because I had actually drawn everything out and then covered it in paint and didn't think about that, so everything is freehanded, 100%. This is a blackout theme, and the only thing that actually shows up on this is usually just white gel pen and of course the metallic gel pens. I really didn't want to bring the metallics into this just because of the fact I felt they didn't fit the theme, and I didn't want to just use all that ink up. So I'm just going to be doing a smiley face, a sad face, an anxious face, and a mad face on the days, just depending on my mood, instead of using a bunch of colors like I usually do. So moving on to my expense tracker, I'm just doing this 2-column layout, and I've been using this for about maybe, I want to say 2 to 3 months for my setups, and it's really helped me out. I do spend quite a bit more than I would like to admit, but otherwise, let's see if this month I can actually keep this 1 column completely blank. I doubt it, but we'll see. Actually pay bills on quotation on that, because they aren't really like the serious bills, but they're just like hobbies and stuff like that. And some of these things I really need to cancel, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Obviously my phone bill is an actual bill, but otherwise it's just stuff that I need to pay off. Yes, I have an Archer and Olive bill. Surprise, surprise, I am a person of stationery and I owe A&O money. Anyways, but that's just an afterpay thing, so 4 payments, super easy, $8 I think is how much I actually pay for that. So at the bottom of my actual my bill tracker, there was supposed to be an image of a cuttlefish in that galaxy, and I cut that out because I didn't film that correctly. Otherwise you'll see it later on whenever I'm doing the flip through, but yeah, sorry about that. So moving on to my to-do list, I'm just drawing this little cuttlefish in the corner here in this galaxy splotch that I've done. Pretty simple, and then after that it moves on to, I believe it's the grade tracker. moving on to my grade tracker, I went back and went ahead and splotched some of those headings just to give that galaxy effect like I had mentioned earlier. For this one, I kept it without the splotches just because it's right next to that galaxy, I guess, blob that's gonna have a cuttlefish in it in a minute. Otherwise though, this is just a place for me to keep up with my assignments for field method and lab and the grades that I make on those. Right, now I just remembered I didn't put a cuttlefish in this one. I did a actual tentacle because I'm on this kick of drawing like tracks and different appendages and stuff somewhere within the spreads. I've done this for Tristan's June plan with me and for his May plan with me. You'll see his June one later on though. It was actually kind of hard to figure out what that track was gonna look like, not gonna lie. Moving on to my sleep tracker, I kept this really simple and just did that layout once again, numbering the days on the y-axis and doing the hours on the x-axis. Yeah, that's math for you. I'm not a huge fan of graphs, but it's the best way to explain this other than saying the horizontal side and the vertical side, because then that's just a whole other mess that I would have to go through. Anyways, moving right along to the other side, these are my weeklies, and this is just my setup of weeklies. So for this, I just did regular days of the week, put the numbers, and then went in and splotched them. Yeah, I'm on a splotching kick, I guess, for this galaxy theme. Then went back over those with a white gel pen later on to make them more defined. Otherwise, though, that's about it for my June setup. I hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing next month.